Okay, so just put 1,000 miles on a 2020 Buick Enclave, all-wheel drive. Somewhere in there. Nice car, very comfortable. The stance on it and the tires that they used are very well thought out. We drove it in some very high wind situations and it didn't bounce all over the road. The wind didn't boss it around. I was very pleased. The HID style or LED style headlights are very bright. I believe those are HIDs. Are very bright, making it super simple to see at night, and they've got them set at a level that they're not going to bother most people. The 3.6 liter variable valve V6 does an excellent job. It's very responsive, it's very quiet, it's got a lot of oomph when you need it. Down there it's backed with what I counted as 8-speed automatic transmission. The transmission is extremely nice upshifting. It's firm but not harsh. The downshifts are mild. You don't really know it. When you step on it and you need to get around somebody, the downshifts are quick, they're firm, the engine doesn't sound labored, it doesn't and search for 12 gears. It drops maybe twice under most circumstances, and the gears are right there. It's got a nice display that's intuitive. LED lighting throughout the vehicle. This one has 2 sunroofs, one here, one in the back. Leather seating, pretty wide open dash. Steering wheel has the cruise control and the options for volume and control. 1,000 miles averaged. Most of the time I averaged just under 25 miles to the gallon. The last little bit into town it popped up because, as you see, it's only a 50-mile fuel economy. It would be much nicer if it was a full, trip-to-trip fuel economy. But this one, all I can find in it is the instant and the average at 50 for every 50 miles. It's got a beautiful view out the front windshield. It's nice and wide, and the seating position is very well thought out. Things that it could use that, well, let's get back to the things I don't like later. Let's go to a few of the other things here. The rear seating, this is a 3-row vehicle. The rear seat, as you can see, there is a ton of legroom back here for the occupants in the rear seat. And the furthest back seat, as you can see right about there, there's not a whole lot for the 3rd-row seats, but if you got kids, that's fine. What I do appreciate is with those seats down, you have a vast expanse of room back here for the weekend, plus you still have the rear seats. So very easy to deal with. It's got tie downs. It's got the seat belt up here for the child seats. Again, LED lighting all the way around. The rear window is actually kind of small. It's viewable, but it's just kind of small. The hatch is motorized, so you don't got to pull it up and down. The vehicle at 80 miles an hour is very stable, as I said. It's very quiet. It handles very, very well. I'm surprised at the interior cabin decibels during a normal driving situation. Let me turn the fan off so it doesn't override my mic. The shifter's kind of goofy. you got foot on the brake, you got to push this little side button right here, and then you can go in. To go into reverse, you got to go up and then over, and then the rear view camera kicks in for, even after you take it out of reverse, it stays on for a few seconds before it shuts off and goes back to a normal screen. To put it into park, all you do is just push that little button and it automatically engages park for you. Okay. These controls, that control, easy to get to. Steering wheel's in a very comfortable position. Things that I don't like. Let's start with, that is my point of view sitting in the driver's seat. This is how far you have to come down to get to the gauges. The gauges honestly could have been up a couple more inches or more and more viewable. You really have to move your head down. The same thing with the stereo's not horrible, but your temperature settings and controlling your HVAC is way down here. The mirrors are 1970s era placement. Instantly was a frustration point with me. The mirrors should be up here so that here to here, not all the way over here. The positive is for the tired drivers that don't look over their shoulders when they're changing lanes or have no idea who's there. A, it's got the collision avoidance in the mirrors, so you know somebody's over there. B, it kind of opens you up to doing a quick over-the-shoulder glance. Still prefer the mirrors to be up here where I feel they belong, to help keep your view here to here at a glance versus a head turn to here. The other thing that is annoying, and I don't understand GM at all after however 100+ years that they've been in business, why in the hell GM cannot make a decent cup holder. So this holds cups, that it does, but if you like the quart Gatorade bottles, if you like the quart Powerade bottles, if you like the quart size vitamin water bottles, you're hosed. They don't fit in there. There's no adjustment. My 04 RAV4 holds all of them. My 07 Ram holds all of them. My 13 Silverado, yeah, the quart sized vitamin water, it barely fits in there. It doesn't fit in here. This is really cool. It's got a dual level storage in here. What I like is that this is generally where all the crap you don't know what to do with at the time ends up, so you can pull it out and throw it in the trash real quick and easy when you realize it's overflowing. The transmission, if I were purchasing this car, this would drive me insane. The transmission on this, it happened 3 times to me between 3rd and 4th gear shifts, where when the transmission is ready to shift or feels like it's ready to shift into 4th, it actually chatters. And it didn't happen every time. It was under a very specific throttle position, but it chattered. And with only 2,700 miles on the odometer, transmission shouldn't chatter or have a hard time searching for a gear under any condition, in my opinion. So if I were purchasing this vehicle, that would be of a very great concern. I'd have this back at GM in a heartbeat for that issue. And the problem being, they're going to tell you they can't replicate it because after 1,000 miles, it only happened the 3 times. But it's a horrible feel. This auto stop thing, when you're sitting still and it decides it wants to shut off the engine, a lot of vehicles I've driven, they're pretty seamless when that engine starts back up. Oh no, not this thing. It is very, very, very obtrusive, and you know that the engine shut off and started back up. It's rude in its behavior, to say the least. The final thing. Oh, no, not the final yet. So the braking system in this car is very adequate under a I need to stop now condition. Multiple times on the freeway, had to hit the brakes and hard because all of a sudden traffic comes to the stupid stop. What I do notice and I don't like is that this feels like it's biased way too much to the front. So under a normal stop in traffic, this car feels like it weighs 12,000 pounds. You have to be very gentle on it, and it feels like it's only braking with the front two wheels. So it feels like a 70-30, and those rear wheels under normal traffic conditions are not helping stop this vehicle. Again, hard stop's fine. Normal coast, coming up to a coast at a stoplight, you find yourself increasing the pressure, where it feels like it's just not using the rear brakes at all to slow this thing down. But the absolute final reason, and the reason I would not myself buy this car, is because at 30 miles an hour or above, if you roll down any window in this vehicle, first it's going to rupture your eardrum because of the sucking pulling that goes on back there. That's a horrible feeling and a horrible sound. Second off, if you can't get the window up fast enough, or you're doing 75-80 and you roll it down, it's going to suck your eardrum right out of your flipping head. This car, whoever engineered it, did not apparently roll windows down when they were test driving this, because there's no way in hell this vehicle should have ever been delivered with windows that cause that kind of pain and anguish just to roll them down to get fresh air in here. So personally, I would pass on this vehicle. All other aspects of it I could live with. I would have a hard time with the brakes and the transmission. If I were purchasing it, it would be back at GM to get those items resolved. But the windows and not being able to roll them down while I'm driving down the road and enjoy fresh air without it ripping my eardrums out of my head, absolutely, positively not. So take one for a test drive. This is just my review, and I hope you find something you like to drive. Have a good one.